I get the blues. You never can tell when it's gonna get you under its spell. The tides of the ocean keep pulling me in like a piece of old timber.
15th of March. With us, we have a gentleman with information worth sharing. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody, I'm called Max and I'm of the Can family.
Something's happened recently in your life that's changed your circumstances. What would that be?
Blimey, that's a very, very wide question. Could that be lawful rebellion or encounters?
I was thinking of the more immediate.
Oh, okay. You're talking the lawful encounters.
Perhaps you'd like to take us from the beginning.
Well, yeah, okay. I discovered that if you register something, you hand over title ownership of it to it, and I realised that the car I was driving around didn't actually belong to me. It belonged to someone else. So I decided to go about lawfully deregistering it, which I did quite happily, and I drove around in it for a while with my own plates on it, on my conveyance we'll call it, because the legal world is a strange world and words don't mean what they appear to mean or what we've been taught they mean. And oh well, they took away my car, they put me in a cell for the night, one night. This was after sort of a month or so of driving it and wondering what to do with me, I guess. But I wasn't arrested. Well, I was arrested on that night.
But you were released? I
was released. I didn't sign anything. I gave them a 9-page document, which I actually have a copy of here. It's my notice of understanding and intent and claim of right, which has been witnessed by 3 good men of the community. I won't bother showing it. It's not.
Isn't that the one that you've actually sent to the Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall Police?
That's correct, yeah, and also Avon and Somerset too, because I was travelling in that region as well. So I figured it best to tell everybody that I'm about. So if you see me in my car, you know it's me. Long story short, I was out of the country. For what I do, I sometimes go outside of the country, which is interesting because you get a different perspective of the country. And when I came back, I'd been, apparently, my person had been tried and found guilty of driving without a licence and driving without tax. Which was
both of which I believe you actually had, and and both were current.
Well, it depends. I mean, on the car the car which was formerly owned by the DVLA, yes, my person has a driving licence, and my person was taxed and insured, and everything was
as they would expect it to be.
Yeah, indeed. So I was wondering who exactly they were. Well, who'd they taken to court? So I wrote to them and I sent them a notice, basically asking who has set up this account in the name of my person, without any signatures or anything really. So it can't be a lawful contract. It can't be a lawful account.
And at that point, I believe you found out that they had actually fined you and awarded points to be put onto your licence.
Onto my person's licence, that's correct.
Sorry, I do apologise.
That's okay. That's okay. We've been trained to believe that the coat we're wearing is who we are, and we're not. And it takes a lot of getting used to. So yes, so the DVLA they wrote to my person and requested that well, they sort of ordered, I guess, or threatened I must send my driving licence my person's driving licence. See, it's easy, isn't it?
But hadn't they deliberated and come to the conclusion that your person didn't have a licence, and that was what they were actually putting the points on the licence for?
Well, that's apparently what my person had been found guilty of.
So they found your person guilty of not having a licence, which you then sent to the DVLA to have points put onto.
Yeah. Which came back. When I sent it, I didn't. They wanted me to sign a piece of paper to say that I was the person. Of course, I'm not the person, so I didn't sign it. But it still came back with points on it. And I can't remember. I think
this is points on the licence you have been taken to court for not having.
This is correct. Yeah.
And I believe they also laid a fine against you. Levied a fine.
Yeah, I can't remember how much it was, but yeah.
And that has recently, for a reason that I'll leave you to surmise at, come to light again, raised its ugly head.
I don't like to jump to conclusions, but
no, you wouldn't want to.
I wrote to the person. It's a chap in. Well, I don't know. I've never seen the signature, so I don't know if this person actually exists as a real living being. Who knows? He's some kind of court person down in Liskeard. He runs the Liskeard branch of Her Majesty's Court Service, which is a private company. And he basically.
You wrote to him?
Yeah, I wrote to him, and I sent him a notice of understanding and a request for a true bill and a lawful contract.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, I'm a reasonable person. I think I like to think I'm a reasonable person.
I didn't think you were a person. Happens to the best of us.
See, there you go again. See, there I go again. It's one of those things. It's so instilled into us that we are. It is
entrenched.
It is really entrenched, and I'm a living being. I'm not a person. Anyway.
You wrote to him?
I wrote to him, and I gave him. I said to him that the living being, am the agent for the person, which I believe to be true. I think that's the way they work it in their system. And I said that if it was a conditional. What do you call it?
Acceptance?
Yeah, conditional acceptance of I will pay the bill on receipt of a true bill and a lawful contract, a copy of the lawful contract.
And I think we can probably put a copy of that letter up.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
However, moving on slightly, last week on I believe Thursday evening,
yes.
You attended an open meeting of the Cabinet of Torbay Council.
I did indeed. There was it was, as you say, an open meeting, and on the agenda was the proposed development, which I believe to be under Agenda 21 initiative, to build on Princess Gardens, which we've been, how shall I say, not protesting. Protesting is not the word.
Removing our consent.
Well, we've removed our consent from the whole deal.
And I think we can refer people to go up onto Talkie TV and see the appropriate video.
Yes, indeed.
Which covers that. I think it's a friend of the town
I think
demands
yes,
answer.
That's correct.
A friend of the town demands answer.
Yeah, I was a bit put out, to be honest. I mean, I sat and I listened to I think it was four women who I know, and I find them very, very honourable women, and they were sitting there giving their protest, if you like, and I watched the faces of the council, and I just knew that this was not a debate, that this was just rubber stamping anything they decided on.
Okay, so we're led to surmise from that, or at least I was, that there were certain members of the council who may have brought pressure to bear on other authorities to raise the matter of your outstanding fine from the court in Liskeard, which we already know is bogus, to their own ends.
Well, I wouldn't say it's bogus. I would say if they do give me a contract and a true bill, it won't be.
Excuse me for laughing. Ha 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 ha.
That's all right. You know, you have to give everybody a chance, don't you?
You do. Shall we just bring things up to date then, and just cover basically what's happened over the last 2 days?
Yeah. Okay. Not much has really happened. The police apparently called up my peaceful inhabitants, and the police called yesterday. What was that, Monday? I wasn't in. The lady of the house was in, and the police were after Max. They addressed me as Max, apparently. So they're after the living being, apparently, not the person, which is interesting. You know. And they came round again today, and I wasn't there either. I'm not running from them. I just didn't happen to be in at the time, because, you know, we have lives to lead. And they arrested my brother, accusing him of being me.
And they were quite violent.
Very, apparently. I wasn't there, obviously, but from all accounts, yes, it was. He was half Nelsoned and thrust into the back of a van and, well, bullied, basically. Certainly assaulted. I don't know if there are any witnesses apart from the lady of the house who was there at the time, which, you know, in one of their courts might be very difficult to prove. I believe there were 3 policemen.
And
I'm calling them policemen because if they're after Max, then they are men. If they're after the person, then they're officers, which is a different story.
And that brings us up to date as to today. We're now waiting for them to make their next move.
Well, they know where I am. I'm not hiding from them. I have nothing to hide. I'll give them, once again, if they arrest me, I will not understand the rights that they would try and bestow upon me. That's a good one to remember, folks. If they say to you, you have the right to do this, that and the other, and you say yes, then that's it, you're stuffed. If you tell them no, then they don't have that right.
Well, thanks very much indeed for that, Max, and we'll hope to bring this to a conclusion very soon.
And the waves roll on. Yeah, the waves roll on, and I'll sing my song. I get the blues